Welcome back. Today we have Senior Public Affairs Specialist Nisha Ajmani from the Desert Water Agency, and she's here to discuss the new water year that started this week. A lot of people start a fiscal year in October. We start a water year in California, and tell folks why that is. Our water year goes from October to October.
Right, so it runs from October to October, and that's because that's when the typical precipitation cycle happens.
Right, we're entering the wet season. We don't have much of a wet season here in the desert.
Not yet here.
The rainy season in California, but also it is tied to snowpack in the Sierras because this is the time of year where we start to see significant snowfall, which really is important to our water supply.
Exactly. So a lot of the water that helps our water supply here in the desert comes from imported water, including water from the Sierra Nevadas. So that's why it's so important to keep an eye on what's happening in Northern California, because it affects our resources here.
And we had, back in September, they had a snowfall alert in the Sierras, which was one of the earliest, in the last 20 years?
They had an advisory, yes, which was the earliest advisory in the last 20 years.
And so you're looking at snow. Now, we often talk about reservoirs and our ability to store water, but the snowpack it's a reservoir of water in snow form.
Right, so that melts and it enters the rivers and reservoirs, and then it travels hundreds of miles through a system of pipes and reservoirs and aqueducts to Southern California, and that's why it matters to our supply here.
And the State Water Project brings that water down from Northern California to us. And it's terrific because, you know, when we get a big rain event in Northern California, a lot of that water runs off and just immediately goes into the rivers and out to the ocean. But this is a slow melting process. So the more snow we have, the better it is for our water supply during the summer months.
That's right. And you can see on this picture here what a difference that can make from year to year. So in 2023, we had a larger amount of snow than in the previous years, and that helps us replenish the groundwater basin.
And we're looking at our replenishment ponds here, right? These are the actual ponds where the water then is flowing back into the aquifer.
Right.
All right. An important thing that marked the beginning of the water year. So when we start talking about annual precipitation versus water year precipitation, they're two different things, but we're starting fresh here as of October 1. So hopefully we have a pretty good season for both snow and a little bit of rain down here.
And it's good to note that this is why conservation matters so much. So you can go to our website for conservation tips at www.dwa.org/save.
There you go. It's that easy, and there are lots of great tips on that website. Nisha, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We've got headlines and more coming up. Our second half hour begins right after this on News Channel 3, the Desert's news leader.